I think. And but I mean, basically the thing we can point out here as well is that the EISCAT facility is they have a heating array or a special heating facility in Tromsø as well, which is designed to create plasma turbulence, right? So, and there's even plasma turbulence simulating software and stuff like that out there, which seems to create this kind of spiral movement, if you will, as well. So it could be a combination, as you say, of these things. They're sending up some kind of, how should we put it, like a carrier, or that so that you can visually see the representation of what the heating facility actually does to the atmosphere, or something like that. I'm not really sure yet, but again, that idea that it's designed to create plasma turbulence, to me, suggests that it had the possibility of creating like a wave pattern in the atmosphere. What do you think, Freeman?
Absolutely. And then what we start to see are all these strange cloud effects. There was just a recent one, I think, over... you know what, I don't know where that recent one was right off. I just was looking at this today, but what I started tracking also were these type of strange cloud effects that were occurring at the same time. So right after the cloud of care in October 9th, we get the strange ring cloud over Russia.
Yeah.
And these type of anomalies have been, on the rise, reported more and more. Mm-hmm. So when we have people manipulating the ionosphere and the magnetosphere as they are without giving us any data as to why and what they're doing, people are going to natural reactions and saying, well, this is just, new meteorological strangeness. But not realizing that, because you went to climate Copenhagen. We're pushing this whole global warming green movement. Meanwhile, we're launching ionospheric heaters and large mirrors up in space to radiate sunlight back to the Earth.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Yeah.
So we can't trust anything at this point.
Absolutely. There's so many different variables, and especially when they begin to mess around with these things, and more power are always, or rather the facilities are being built out all the time as well, and they can harness more and more energy all the time. Just on a side note as well, Freeman, we put up an article today on the site. The headline was, U.S. General urges World War on Space Debris. World powers must find ways to reduce the amount of debris in orbit as the collision risk is posed to spacecraft is increasing, the head of the U.S. Strategic Command said on Wednesday. This is Air Force General Kevin Shilton, a former astronaut. Just a side note, but that's interesting that they're gearing up for war in space, as it were, for different reasons and and different kinds of war in space as well, Freeman.
Right, and this is critical to the issue. This is where we need to look, because what is going on now is a whole revamping of the space systems all around the globe, and we are moving into all of these international space nations. So pretty much every G20 nation has a launch facility. You remember India launching, I think it was somewhere around 10 sounding rockets for the eclipse. Mm-hmm. Then we have Astana, or Kazakhstan, where Russia launched the clown into space, where they launched the Cirque du Soleil guy. But that's where, Kazakhstan is where they launch from.
And that city, by the way, is major. They're building their pyramid structures lit up in different colors. That could be symbolically seen as a major Illuminati capital, if you will, Astana in Kazakhstan.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah, that Pyramid of Peace, they'll be hosting the Fourth Congress of World Leaders trying to bring about the unified religion.
Yes.
Also, Astana was where they decided to come up with the one world currency, Akmetal. And the name Astana actually means threshold, which brings me back to the double columns. Whenever I see the word threshold, I think of the twin columns in Freemasonry and the passage through into the temple, and this is the Empress. Which is also the letter G, and it gets into a lot of connections in the symbolism.
Yes.
But absolutely, Kazakhstan is set up as some sort of geomantic or earth magic system device. It's in perfect geometric patterns. We have that Pyramid of Peace, the palace. The presidential palace looks like it should have lightning bolts coming between those twin columns. And, of course, the strange Total Recall hand up in that giant ball. This is strange madness, and this is what our 21st century capitals are looking like. We've got, of course, also Dubai, and you better remember that Atlantis is in Dubai, and then that Tree of Life, and all. I know you covered that well.
Absolutely. There's so much. I just want to ask you as well, Freeman, on a side note here, if you did hear about the whole Benjamin Krem Maitreya Steps Forward annunciation as well on their own website, actually. They will
Share International.
Yes. Did you hear about this?
I did, and it's very curious because I personally had only just come across this incoming dwarf star, which was G1.9 plus 0.03, but you can just find it by G1.9. It's also linked under Space War News and all the images. Now, of course, what Benjamin Krem was saying with this arrival of Maitreya, and they said that he had appeared on a national or American TV show, which I haven't found yet. I'd like to see.
Me neither, yeah.
Now, we also know that Obama was in Kenya when the Maitreya made his appearance, and very curious connections with this whole character. Okay, yes. But what he was saying was the blue star. This other star would be appearing at the appearance of Maitreya. Also, we have the Hopi Blue Star prophecies, which Obama quoted from, which I actually read on your radio program 2 times back when I was on. Mm-hmm. So we've got Obama quoting Hopi end-of-the-world prophecies. We've got the Maitreya showing up stating that there would be a blue star or a new star in the sky that would come with his appearance. And now we have this G1.9. Now, when you start looking at this thing, it's crazy. G1.9 could not be spotted because either it's a supernova or a brown dwarf star. We've got battling scientists on this issue right now. NASA, JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, was saying that this was a supernova. And when you have a look at this supernova, you'll see very clearly that it looks just like the Firefox logo. Very curious there. And of course, my mathematics tell me that Fox equals 666. F's. And, that's right. So, fire 666, and of course CERN 666. And we can get deeper and deeper into that type of symbolism and just who is controlling the technological advancements of planet Earth. But when we start to get to G1.9, we'll see that another team, the Star Viewer team, is announcing that it was a brown dwarf and that it's actually hurtling towards planet Earth. And this might be that wormwood and the planet X that people have been looking for. It was not visible to us by the naked eye, and as you start to look into the studies of when the last reports of this incoming star way back in our ancient past, they say that they had a day that they could see it. It was only when it became visible within the sun's radiation that this incoming Nibiru, Death Star, whatever you want to call it, was visible.
Yeah.
Until then, it's completely invisible. Well, that turns out to be the same case with G1.9, is that it is completely invisible to the naked eye. It was only when they launched the IRAS, or the infrared satellite up into space. Now, it also has to be in space. It can't be viewed from infrared on Earth or even other they just launched the WISE, the wide-angle infrared viewer satellite. And so 1980, we got our first glimpse of G1.9. And this was when NASA announced that it was a supernova. Then we start seeing it, them having to backtrack on their information, saying, well, we think it's actually younger than we thought it was because it's getting bigger. And other scientists, like the Star Viewer group, are saying, well, it's getting bigger because it's coming towards us, and that this is actually a binary sun in our solar system that we are orbiting around. But it fits into these prophecies very well, and now we can witness it. Now we can see it because we have the WISE out there. We have the IRAS, but of course that's ancient technology by today's standards. And at the same time, we have U.S. scientists calling for a creation of an international asteroid defense agency.
Yeah.
Okay, I find this curious because I watch a lot of Hollywood to get the backstory on what they're trying to put out to us. Now, Hollywood is straightforward predictive programming, and they release a lot of data that you can actually use in your straightforward understanding of the universe and the world around us. And I just watched 2012 Supernova, which basically has the Americas and Russian and China alliance coming together to build a nuclear platform out in space to deter this